Hey everyone, and welcome! Today we are going to sew a scrunchie with a hidden zipper, which is really useful to hide a key, for instance, or some money. If you have a feeling of déjà vu, that's because I used the same fabric in my last tutorial where we learned how to make an easy scrunchie without zipper, and I highly recommend you have a look at that too. The first steps are the same. We have cut a rectangle that we are going to fold right sides together, fishes together if you will, and that we are going to stitch at 1 centimeter from the edge without forgetting to secure stitch it at the start and the end of the seam. Next step, we are going to press open the seam. This way it will be nice and clean looking on the right side of the fabric later on. And now, have a good look. I am folding both edges one on top of the other, and then I fold them again together before basting them in place with extra large hand stitches. This way it will be easier to sew the zipper without having all the fabric layers in the way. So let's do it. Here is my invisible zipper. You can use one that is about 8 to 10 centimeters long, and I am going to align it with one of the edges of the scrunchie, right sides together. Now I am going to pin it in place quickly, and then I need to stitch it as close as possible from the teeth. Remember that we are using an invisible zipper. It's possible to use a normal zipper, but it would be more visible in the scrunchie. Alright, we have two options to insert an invisible zipper. We can use the narrow presser foot, or we can use the special invisible presser foot, and I'll be using the latter. Now that the zipper is stitched on one side, we are going to stitch the other side. Make sure that you stitch it at the right place to prevent misalignment. The best way to be sure is to close the zipper first and then pin the other side of the fabric. I place a first pin, I open my zipper again, and then I pin the rest in place. You can leave the zipper closed to stitch the other side if you'd rather, but I find it easier when it is open. So let's do it. The same way we did for the other side of the zipper, I am going to stop stitching when it's impossible to go any further. We could lift the presser foot and walk the head of the zipper on the other side, but for today's job that is not necessary. Actually, it is better this way. You will see why later. Now close half of the zipper and take off the basting stitches we made earlier. We are going to lift the end of the zipper, the one we couldn't stitch in place because of the head of the zipper, and we are going to start stitching our scrunchie at 1 centimeter from the edge, starting right there at the end of the zipper's seam. So remember to lift the end of the zipper and to start at the end of the seam here. The easiest way is to use the narrow presser foot that you should find with your sewing machine's accessories. It will allow you to stitch as close as possible to the zipper. Alright, a few securing stitches and here we go. Remember we are sewing at 1 centimeter from the edge without catching the inner layers. Be careful. Now, before going any further, I stop stitching and grab these inside layers and I pull them down carefully. To do that, I hold the scrunchie with my left hand, making sure not to pinch the inside layers at the same time, and I pull the fabric down. I reposition properly my outer layers one on top of the other, making sure the inner layer are tightly rolled inside. You don't want to sew them, and we go on sewing at 1 centimeter from the edge. Then rinse and repeat basically, until the whole scrunchie is sewn. In this case, we do not leave any opening to turn the scrunchie inside out, since this will be possible thanks to the opening of the zipper, which we did leave half open, of course. I will show you now how to handle the end of your seam once we have reached the other side of the zipper. The principle is simple. You need to free both sides of the zipper's end so they are not caught in your sewing. Here we go. I push them on the side and then I aim for the start of the zipper's seam. That's where our sewing needs to stop, with a few sequin stitches, of course. Alright, good job. Now comes the best part. I am going to use a bodkin. It's a large needle with no sharp point. The link to this tool is in the description box. It is an amazing tool if you make scrunchies in bulk, but you can also use a safety pin. I insert the bodkin into the tube and not through the zipper's opening. Be careful, it wouldn't work. And when the elastic is out on the other side, I can release it from the bodkin and tie a knot. Just like that. You can machine stitch it, of course, if you'd rather, but this is quicker this way, and you can easily adjust the length of your elastic if needed. For instance, if you have really thick hair, you might want to give your elastic a bit more length. And as I like to say, the caterpillar is now ready to emerge from its cocoon. We just have to turn the scrunchie inside out. And this time through the zipper's opening. Et voila! Our scrunchie is done. Look how nice it is. Would you have guessed that it has a hidden pocket inside? Now it's your turn. Happy sewing, everyone! Bye bye! À bientôt!